Hi everyone, how are you today? Hope everyone is doing well. Nadia and I made up. So we thought we would share a little bit about some kind of conflict. You don't want my arm on you? So some conflict resolution. I'm smothering her. So clearly life is not perfect. We are not perfect. And I share a lot of lovely exercises that we do on Facebook, but I think it's important for us to share our struggles so that we can, as we work through our struggles, help you work through your struggles. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between how I used to parent versus how I parent now. And that way, if I can offer you any value in your parenting style and shifting through some challenges with your children, I can be of service to you in that way. So generally, I want to tell you, I used to parent from a very limited perspective, a very contracted perspective, where I was the ruler and they were to be ruled over. And this is a common parenting style where we get frustrated, we operate from emotion, and we point at our kids and we say, I am your mom, this is what you do. You will listen to me because I am the parent. Well, that is a very contracted, limited way of parenting because we are not valuing our children's emotions and we are not trying to get to the bottom of why they are feeling the way they are feeling, why they are expressing these particular emotions in this particular package and way. And so now the way that I choose to parent is from a higher perspective, a perspective that helps us to expand, a perspective that ensures that my children are not going to store these shitty emotions in their body through misunderstanding in the way that I am parenting and in what they are experiencing. Like, we really try to work through it. Now, it doesn't always happen immediately. Sometimes it's a process, and that is what has happened recently. Over the past couple of days, okay, hold on. Let me back up for a second. I want you to understand that every time that you do work on yourself, you are working on the collective, okay? Every time you do work on yourself, you're working on your kids, you're working on your ancestors. It's all connected. We're all connected. So understand that as you are having energetic shifts in your body, as you are clearing old habits, old ways, old codes, you are also doing the same in your kids. And so what I found is as I'm doing these energetic practices and moving old shit out of my body, my kids are experiencing it too. And sometimes this can lead to this, because when I'm moving anger out of my body, you can experience more anger. You can experience more triggers. And when your kids are experiencing the same thing, you can kind of butt heads. And so the point is, let's move through it together and get to the bottom of it instead of just triggering the hell out of each other and then storing that energy back in your body in a different way. You talk about it and you figure it out and then you turn it into a beautiful dream building practice that we'll share with you. So, full transparency here. Over the past, 3 days? Week?
Yeah, 3 days, I think.
3 days or so, Nadia and I have really been butting heads. We've been arguing a lot. We've been operating from a highly emotional state, and we've been kind of yelling at each other. We knew there was something deeper to get to, but we weren't ready to go there yet. So we just kind of argued. We just kind of butted heads over the past several days. And today was the final straw where it was okay, we need to get to the bottom of this. We had a confrontation at the grocery store. And it was all right, what is going on here? So we came home, and I, being the parent, I being the more mature, I don't know, maybe one, went to Nadia and said, hey, I know that I'm moving some anger through my body, and I'm moving it out, and I feel like I may, maybe I'm taking it out on you, and maybe you're doing the same, and can we have a conversation to get to the bottom of it, and then maybe we can meditate together. And because we have open communication, okay, you have a conflict, you move away from each other's energetic space, you process it alone so that you can get into a space where you can actually productively communicate, and that's what we did. And I was hey, do you think that maybe you're moving some anger out of your body with all of this energetic work that we're doing? And she was yeah, I think so. And so it was like, okay, so let's sit with this. Let's have a little bit of a conversation and then feel into our intuition and see if anything comes to us about why we're experiencing these emotions. And then what you're developing in your child is the fact that you're having compassion for them, the fact that you are wanting to understand what they're coming from, and not only wanting to understand where they're coming from, but wanting to help them move through it and owning your own shit and not just dictating to them that I am the parent, you are the child, you will do as I say. Like, we don't roll like that, right? Okay, so kind of what I know that I'm moving some old stuff related to my marriage, previous marriage. And so I was kind of like, okay, Nadia, like, I know what I'm moving. What are you moving? And so she sat with it for a minute and she was like, yeah, I know what I'm moving. Do you want to share what you're moving? You don't have to share it.
What did I say?
Well, you were talking about how you're kind of moving some anger through your body about where you're living now and who you're living with your dad. You don't have to talk about it, but if you would like to, then you're called to talk about it if you want to. All right. So Nadia's going to share. Why don't you share too how it came to you? Because on the surface, when I first asked you, it wasn't there. You didn't know. What was your process there?
Just kind of like sitting in like kind of like silence, and like it wasn't really like silence, just kind of thinking. And then one of my spirit guides, every so often sometimes I'll just hear her, but she said that it was my dad and his girlfriend, just because like whenever I went over to dad's, it was always like everything was focused on us, you know, because that's all he really, like, it was us. And then his girlfriend came, and you know, a lot of the attention, like, I still do get a lot of attention from him, but like it wasn't as much as I used to get. And then they moved in together, and then, you know, like, that just kind of made more attention to her, and she definitely likes attention. But but it just, like, you know, like, he still does pay attention to us. It just definitely
it's a change,
shifted,
right?
and just like kind of like sharing attention with someone else, because it used to be all of us.
Right. And so that's different, right? And you have a right to feel that shift, and you have a right to feel angry about that, because it's different, it's a change, and you're a human sovereign being, and you get to have emotions, right? Yeah. And sometimes those emotions come out in completely different ways. Like, you know, it was like the arguments we had nothing to do with her dad, nothing to do with anything that was going on over there. It seemed to be something very small and minute and unrelated, when in actuality it's all related. And sometimes these emotions come out in different topics through different ways because they need to leave. And so, like, they're going to leave in any way that they possibly can. And so then what's the conversation? You know, then the conversation is, again, how do we look at this from a higher perspective? Like, you know, I could have pity and help Nadia go into victimhood about, this emotion that she's experiencing. Or I can help her in understanding that, number one, she's a sovereign being. She asked for this journey. She came here. She wanted to grow and experience. So she's walking her own path. And so I get to support her in that. And I also get to, like, help her understand, like, what does this mean? You know, what kind of lessons is this teaching her? You know, how do we, again, view this from a higher perspective and not from an angry perspective, and, like, love everyone involved through it, and understand that dad has a path, she has a path, right? And we're all converging, and we have to, like, love and respect that and understand that this is all lesson learning, right? We're learning lessons. And so then after that, don't you feel like that conversation was very useful, right? Do you feel like you had a shift, like, energetically for yourself and toward me? I feel like I did too. And so we feel like I feel a beautiful sense of resolution in a way. Do you feel like you were heard? Oh, do you feel like you were heard? Yes. Okay, so then to just speed this up, we then started talking about our dreams. and kind of our vision for the future. And so we shifted it to something that's super high vibration, makes us both super excited, and really bonds us on a beautiful level.
Yeah.
And so we're going to meditate together later. Love you. All right, everyone. I hope that was useful. I love you so much. And we'll be back. We'll share our meditation experience at some point. Have a great day.
Bye.